So here I am, about to step into one of the most misunderstood communities on earth, where outsiders are not trusted and acceptance is hard to come by.
If people here spoke about any other racial group in the way in which they talk about the Roma, they'd be described as out-and-out racists.
You might ask, why am I here? Well, just a few weeks ago, I was robbed by a Roma Gypsy gang on my first week in Europe.
And then it all kind of happened around this area. So it's been smashed when it's been taken from my hands.
It was my first real encounter with this community, and understandably, it left me shaken. I posted online about my experience, and the reaction? It was confronting, to say the least. Stories of similar encounters, excessive judgment, and a constant prejudice. The reputation of this community across Europe is something that took me by surprise as someone who doesn't live here. But here's the thing. I've travelled the world and I've seen how damaging and often incorrect prejudice without context can be. So instead of letting one experience dictate how I see an entire group of people, I decided to dig deeper. I'm here to ask one question. Is my experience with the Roma community truly representative, or is there more to these communities than what I've been told? What's it really like to live in these conditions? What's their history, their culture, their struggles? And how do they navigate life when they're constantly misunderstood and labelled? I'm not here to make assumptions, I'm here to challenge them, to learn through exposure, to meet face to face. The real question is, what will I uncover when I step into their world?
No, it's okay. Don't. No, I'm not.
We're on the way to meet Igor now, walking through this park in Slovakia, and I am a little bit nervous. I'm not sure what to expect, especially after what happened to me. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. We headed to a local coffee shop where we met Igor, a local expert on the area, before heading out to the most famous Roma community, one that's quite misunderstood. So I am a bit nervous, but we'll see what's in store. I am looking forward to hearing from them themselves. So far it is different to anywhere that I've been. Having arrived in Lunik 9, one of the largest communities of Roma people in Slovakia, I can't help but wonder what life is like for those that live here.
Hello.
Josie.
Hi, how are you?
Maroš.
Lunik 9 itself isn't as far out of the city as I kind of imagined. I kind of thought for some reason it would be pushed really far out. I mean, it is. It's separate to the rest of the Luniks. This goes up to 8, and then this one's on the outskirts. But coming in and driving in, there is an immediate shift in feeling and people. You can feel it, you can see it. The Roma people, often referred to as Gypsies, have a long and complex history stretching back over 1,000 years. Originating in northern India, the Roma began migrating to Europe around the 11th century, likely due to invasions and conflicts in their homeland. Over time, they spread across the continent, facing a range of challenges including discrimination, forced assimilation, and violence. In many European countries, the Roma were marginalised and segregated, often living in poverty and denied basic rights. During the Holocaust, Roma communities were brutally targeted by the Nazis, with an estimated 500,000 Roma people killed. After World War II, many Roma were left in a state of displacement and continued to experience prejudice and exclusion. Despite their centuries-long presence in Europe, the Roma remain one of the most disadvantaged and discriminated groups today, struggling with systemic inequalities in education, employment, and housing. Their resilience, however, is evident in the vibrant culture they've preserved despite centuries of hardship.
How do I say hello in Romani?
Po rómsky, jak sa povie, že ahoj alebo dobrý deň?
Ahoj. Lačo Gives.
Lačo Gives. Lačo Gives. Lačo Gives.
Lačo Gives. Always like learning hello. As we made our way into one of the apartment buildings in Lunik 9, I was still feeling very unsure, but stopping for a brief moment, I was able to ask this young man, Maroš, what it's like to live here.
You have really beautiful eyes.
Thank you.
You grew up here?
Či si tu vyrastol?
Hej.
What was it like for you?
Skoro aj dobre, ale aj zle. Že také, že bitky a také.
These pros and cons, you know. Some things are alright, but also like fights here and not like everything is perfect, so
yeah. And how old are you?
18.
18. And what about your like studies? Do you study anything? Do you want to?
Ja študujem tu v Košiciach na súkromnej pedagogickej.
So yeah, he's studying at the school, the third year of his high school, and he's studying as pedagogical assistant of the teacher.
Sure.
So like he got one more year to go.
1 more year.
Yeah. So yeah, he's like very into it. Also, he's volunteering, through the local organization, and they're motivating young people, like to get better lives and like not growing up in like ghetto conditions, but like to get better lives. So yeah, he likes it.
I can only imagine how difficult it could be to grow up here. This young man is working 4 times as hard to make a better life for himself. I then asked him if he felt judged and if there was a misconception of the people here.
Yeah, he said like the people got like much bigger prejudices, and like people expect like to be like a complete disaster here, but it's not so bad here. And also there are like a lot of normal people here, and I can like confirm that like as I told you that like I've been here like thousands or like 100 times before. Nothing bad happened to me. So I guess yes, the prejudices are definitely like higher than like the reality.
Is it? I'm just came out shop over there.
So, okay.
So, what is Lunik 9, the community I'm in now, and how did it get this reputation? Lunik 9 started in the 1980s as a mixed community designed to house both Slovaks and Roma families. But over time, due to the economic decline, discrimination, and a lack of investment, the neighbourhood became increasingly segregated. Today, it's one of Europe's largest and most notorious Roma settlements. What was once a vibrant, diverse community is now a symbol of exclusion, poverty, and marginalisation, reflecting the broader struggles of Roma people across Slovakia and much of Eastern Europe. Invited us into their home here, so we're going to see sort of what it's like inside as well as outside. Wow.
Thank you. Hello. Lecce Gize. I can't see anything.
Sorry, I can't. I'm fully fogged up.
What are you making?
Ziemniaki a meso.
Yum.
I pieczone ziemniaki z mesą.
Potatoes.
What's your name? Marsha. Josie. Nice to meet you. Marsha shared she's been living in this apartment for 15 years, but has been in the community for her whole life, other than the times she's travelled to England in search of work.
She used to work here in US Steel, in the big steel factory behind the city.
Oh, sure.
But yeah, she said it's challenging to find a job. Maybe in England, like they're not always like checking the education. Maybe they're not so strict about that.
Right.
Here it's much more strict. If you don't have an education, you don't have a job. And
Really?
So, yeah.
So that's why when you study, it's imperative for him. Like, it's important for him to study to get his job, because otherwise you don't have any opportunities. Wow. Just thinking, it's just hard.
Okay.
We learned that these micro apartments are rented directly from the district, with many sharing accommodations or raising full families in an apartment this size.
Live in such a tiny apartment. It's just like this room and one bathroom, and she used to live in a similar apartment like with 6 people, so it was kind of like challenging.
In an apartment this big?
Yes.
Wow.
It was very challenging.
So this room was for 6 people for you?
Vy ste hovorili, že ste v podobnom byte bývali, ale she was living in the same size. But
same size.
Yes.
Yeah. But for this size of a room for 6.
So you would sleep here, and and then you've got the bathroom, and this is the whole thing.
Okay, so there are three people. Her with 2 kids.
2 kids.
Two kids.
And they would all sleep on this mattress?
Yeah, I would say.
Although very small, with Marsha and 2 kids living in the one room, this apartment was clean and warm, which was reassuring.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Nice to meet you.
But as we head outside, I spot an outdoor settlement across from her apartment, which looks in much worse shape, at least from here.
Is this also where they live as well?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like this is called like Mašličkovo. It means that it's a settlement because like 2 blocks were destroyed or like turned down. And the people from those blocks, they went just behind, like to like they created this kind of like very simple thing.
Right. Now we will explore this illegal settlement later, as well as another that's completely off the radar in a different district, that's known to be much more extreme, to the point we need a higher security to ensure our protection. But first, we're heading into one more apartment in this block.
Oh wow, it's tall.
Yeah, this one is much bigger. Maybe I close the door because
it's cold outside, Michael.
Yeah.
Can I have a look? Yeah, bit of a tight squeeze
To get through.
Sure. So you've got a toilet in there, and then you've got the kitchen.
It's very small. It's very small. And of course you got everything in the one spot, so. Now, in yet another person's modest home, I can't help but ask what life is like for her here in Lunik 9.
Despite the fact that like people are living here in very humble conditions, if you want and if you try, it's possible to have like kind of normal, maybe humble but normal life here. You know, like if you try, if you are not like really like wasting your money or like having some kind of like bad lifestyle, it's possible to have life here.
Being Roma part of her identity, or does she feel like herself and then Roma second? Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Does she feel like it defines who she is?
Ja som bola
I asked her about the Roma identity, and she said like she was growing up in a mixed environment.
Right.
But she's not like ashamed to be Roma. What she loves about like being Roma or like the Roma people is like they're very temperament, you know, like very alive. They got like very passionate, also like the relation with kids. You know, this is something they really care about. Like despite of the condition and poverty or whatever, like this is like the most important thing in life.
Yeah.
You know, they care about their families. They are caring about the parents. You know, they are not putting them to the retirement homes. It's like the care of the family.
Help each other.
Yes.
zabawają.
And also like Roma love to party,
Radi tancują.
love to dance,
Śpiewają.
love to sing.
Good, me too.
Romovia majú radi veľa detí, nemalo.
And they love to have a lot of kids, you know, so like big families.
Big families. I can feel her passion as well.
Yeah.
Okay, cíti z vás takú vášeň.
Love it.
Máte v sebe veľa
Ja
života.
som veľmi dobrá žena.
She said like goodness. She's trying to be a good woman.
Good. Me too. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Bye. Thank you.
So we've just come out of their homes and it honestly wasn't really what I expected. And the people are a lot more welcoming. I think out here is a little bit, maybe a little bit tense, or maybe I'm just making that way. I'm not sure. Hello. How are you? Good. Thank you. It's cold.
It's cold, yeah.
What's your name? Eric.
Yes.
Josie. Nice to meet you. So I'm not sure exactly what I expected, but I'm not sure I expected this much friendliness, which is strange. Especially the experience that I've had in the past, it wasn't this. So it's good. I'm glad that I'm here and I'm actually speaking to them in a different environment than the one I was in.
Do you feel yourself that you are Roma or Slovak?
Či sa viac cítiš ako Roma, alebo ako Slovak, alebo aj?
Podľa mňa, akože aj, pretože musím sa tak cítiť ako Slovak, pretože by...
He said both, like also like both Roma and both Slovak, and but his like primal identity is to be Roma, you know. So that's the primal one.
Do you see your kids living here? What do you hope for this area and your culture?
Keď budem mať deti, tak chcem im nebývať, hej?
He would love to have a like normal family house somewhere, like maybe at a village, you know, and live in a nice condition. But, like keep your roots, you know, and the roots will be here. I mean, like you cannot like deny it or forget it.
Good, I like that. Like to keep your culture.
Yes.
I don't know if this is offensive to ask. I'm going to ask you first. But my experience with the people from this area was I was in a train station and I got jumped and attacked by 4 of them. And that was my experience. So it's
where did it happen?
Antwerp in Belgium.
Okay, he said that like he's of course like know that like some people like Romas are like acting like that, and they're like people having like this kind of bad lifestyle, and of course that this is creating the prejudices also like in a majority, and this is like influencing him as well, that like he feels that despite of the fact that like he's a normal guy, studying, you know, dressing well, behaving normal, not causing any problems, that everywhere he go, he feels that like, you know, he feels judged, he feels that people are expecting him to steal or something, so he's not happy about it.
He feels that prejudice.
Yes, he feels that prejudice definitely, but also he said that like also those people, you know, those Roma who are causing the problems, he said like many times they just don't have any good example in the family. I think like we are heading to this like topic of the generational poverty, that like if you don't have someone in the family giving you a good example how to live your life, that's what they do, and I mean he's not happy about it, but he somehow understands, you know.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so he said like outside of the Roma community he would definitely like love when people would more judge people according to how they are and who they are, not according to their color of their skin or like ethnicity. And for the Roma people, he said like don't give up, work hard, because like we Roma, we have to work twice so hard as maybe someone from the majority. So don't give up, and like you can do it somehow. Also, he's also very grateful to ETP Slovakia, the organization who is working here, because he started to visit them when he was just a kid, and they were leading him also to the good way. So maybe he's able to perceive the world in maybe with different perspectives. So he's also very grateful to them.
Love it.
Thank you so much.
And you're so young too, so I wish you all the best.
Yeah.
Doing good things.
I was not that wise at 18.
Neither was I. He's very, very wise for his age. So I've been jumping between countries in Europe for a few months now, and one thing that's made my life so much easier is using Holofly's eSIM in every single country in Europe I've been to so far. It is all digital and the setup process is super quick. Once you buy an eSIM on their website, they email you a QR code, you scan it, and then bam! Your eSIM's installed. Plus, it doesn't replace your usual SIM, so you can keep your usual number while using the eSIM for data. So Holofly has regional options for just about anywhere. Europe, Asia, North America, Latin America, Africa, and even a global option if you're really jumping around. It's perfect if you're traveling through a specific region or multiple countries, because you don't have to worry about swapping SIMs at the border. Just pick the region and you're covered. They're also offering you 5% off your plan when you click the link below and use my code Josie. Puppy? Puppy! I love puppies. Actually, let's just look up how to say dog with my Holofly eSIM.
Dog.
Oh. Oh well, at least I can check. So another thing that I love is that you can completely customize your trip, whether you're going for a few days, a few weeks, or a few months. Holofly lets you choose the exact amount of days that you need, so there's no running out of data halfway through or paying for days that you won't actually even use. So there's a link in the description bar below, there's a QR code on the screen, and don't forget to use code Josie for 5% off your next Holofly eSIM. And thank you, Holofly, for sponsoring this video. Let's get back to the story. There's two boys in the door there, and he was like, hello. They've just walked ahead of us the entire time, and no one's said anything to us. I don't feel unsafe, to be honest with you. We've just been walking, basically, looks like on our own.
Our local friend has some mattresses that he was given to him for like the Ukraine crisis, because lots of we're right on the border of Ukraine here in Kosice. So I think we're just giving like some mattresses while we're here as a thank you for the hospitality, and also because like better used in the winter than not being used, right?
At this point, we are heading into the dispersed settlement in Lunik 9, the one that we could see from Marsha's apartment, to hand out some mattresses for sleeping, both to be helpful and as a thank you. You good back there?
Yeah, we're not being bothered, are we?
No.
The hype is definitely not correlated to the experience, is it?
Yeah.
Mostly unbothered.
So we're heading into these parts out the back just to drop off these mattresses that Igor brought. Yeah, Igor's done some good here with them. All these people's like houses were knocked down, and so having to move into places like this must be so tough. Like so tough. I can't even imagine, and it's so cold. This is when it hits me, just how difficult the living conditions are for some people. Homes are made of wood and tarps, built here on land that is not theirs. And after their block of apartments were torn down, they're doing what they can to survive. We are here just to provide some mattresses, not to pry into their life. So many of my questions will have to wait, at least until tomorrow.
Thank you. Nice to meet you. Hi.
Just want to say, if you're watching this and you're thinking like, why can't these people just pull themselves out of this situation, I really encourage you to think about the impact of your words and how that would affect these people, because it's not easy. As he was telling us before, he has to work so much harder than the average person to get out of this. And if you see, these are the pictures of this place not even 5-10 years ago, and this is what it is now, as you've seen today. They are doing that. They are doing all that they can, and I really encourage you to just have a little bit of empathy and to think about it from someone else's point of view, because you can't fathom this. I can't fathom this because it's not easy. Yes, there are probably some not great people here, but there are good people here. These kids aren't bad people. You might be a good person, but if those are the thoughts that you have, those prejudice and those preconceived ideas, these are the barriers that they face every single day from not just you, but everyone, multiple people. So seeing children in this setting is heartbreaking. The night before entering Lunik 9, I had met with Anna Koptova, the first Roma to be elected to Slovak parliament, and one of the key figures for Roma people being recognised as an official minority in this country. With so much she has personally achieved, her hopes for the future still revolve around the same things she has been fighting for her whole life: representation and education.
No a my sme už vlastne 20-25 rokov za týmto obdobím.
Okay, so like now we are 25 years later.
Yeah.
And she feels that really sorry about the fact that like since then like there were no new institutions created, and the state is neglecting this need of educating in the first language.
Right.
And it's a terrible situation because it's the language the kids are thinking in this language.
Yeah.
So they're like massively disadvantaged when they are entering the education
and workforce.
And she said like maybe it's her like guess, but you know some kids they will be just maybe they will have just 20% of the knowledge that has kids from a majority.
Right.
So it's like huge disadvantage.
Čiže samozrejme predpoklad na to, aby rómske deti sa nemohli dostať na stredné školy.
So then those kids are not able to achieve, they're not finishing the high schools.
Yeah.
They cannot reach universities because from the beginning they are like late.
Yeah, and it's not easy then. You have to go through even more hoops to get.
Yeah, the gap is just too big at the beginning.
Yeah.
I think I'm still processing a lot of things about what I saw and what I experienced, where their houses had been knocked down and they were living in literal tin houses was hard to see. And the little kids, like I can't even imagine. For me, I grew up in a single parent, single income, sometimes no income family. I lived in a whole house smaller basically than the room that I'm in now, and I lived in a living room. I had no bedroom. But for me, like people don't look at me and say you can't get a job or cross the street because I'm coming their way or any of that. I don't face those problems just because I grew up really, really poor. And I don't mean to make comparisons to myself because again, I'm saying I can't fathom their situation, especially because I don't get those prejudices just from the way I look and where I'm from and my socioeconomic status and things like that. I'm not trying at all to discount the real situations and interactions that people have with the Roma community, the, negative ones, because they do happen. They happen to me. And that's how I'm aware of this story. That's literally the reason how I became aware of these people. But it's like, surely it's not someone's first thought or preference to have to stand in a train station and attack me and steal my phone. Surely it's a survival mechanism. And I'm trying to come at it like that and more with an open mind. So if you're European, I'm not trying to tell you how to deal with this or what you're doing is right or wrong. I know that we have our own problems where I'm from. Everyone in the world was telling me that Lunik 9 is the most dangerous place, but the place that we're going tomorrow is so much worse that they don't even record the statistics. So I'm actually kind of nervous, to be honest with you, about that. So we'll see how that goes. So we're meeting Igor now for day 2. Last night I met a girl in town and we told her that the place we're going to today, and she said good luck. So that feels good. We'll see what happens, I guess. I'm a bit nervous, I'm not gonna lie. Igor,
morning.
I'm nervous.
Why?
For today.
No, it will be just fine.
Okay.
It will be just fine, no problem.
But there is more to this story than just Lunik 9. I'm on the way to a small settlement tucked away on the mountainside in Eastern Slovakia that is often hidden and forgotten by the media, politicians, and even in official statistics. While Lunik 9 makes headlines around the world as the largest and most notorious Roma settlement in Europe, the reality in Rishnava is much harsher. With no political voice or media coverage, it's a place that remains off the radar, and that lack of representation makes success something even more difficult. The conditions here are extreme. There's overcrowding, crumbling buildings, and no access to basic services like clean water or sanitation. It's a community that's been left behind and hidden from the public eye. But there is a distrust towards outsiders in this community, and heading in without a local contact isn't wise. A security team made up of local Roma residents accepted my request to visit and helped me gain acceptance in the community. Wow. I'm excited to hear from them. I'm just a little bit nervous. See. What's your name? Marek. Josie. Nice to meet you. What's your day in your life here? What's it like to live here?
Ráno človek stane, hej, zloží oheň, keď je zima, skočí po vodu na studňu.
So he says that like at the beginning it's the basic stuff, so he needs to take water, prepare the wood for the fire, making things around the house, you know, like the basic things like to ensure the household.
And do you feel anyone from outside this community, you face any challenges when it comes to how they think about you?
Čo ja vám poviem, že toto sa, to nie je len tuto, že...
Everywhere in Slovakia, like when they see Roma, it's like that, yes. Of course, like you feel humiliated and it's hurting. That like, yeah, it's kind of painful.
That's sad. How would you come together as a family or a community, and what's their hope for the future for his kids or their kids?
Dúfajme, že už bude lepšie, hej?
I think they feel like neglected and like maybe the state is not like caring so much,
sure.
And maybe not enough is made. And so then also like the kids are not living in very good conditions and they like dirty, you know, there is mud everywhere, so yeah. Like for the Romas, like he wish like to unite and maybe create some kind of representation.
My sme chceli lepšie žiť, hej? Poukazujú, že Romáci nechcú žiť, nechcú pracovať, áno, chcú. A nemá ani na hlieba deti čo dávať.
Yeah, so there are many like very poor people here, like who can like even provide like the basic food and so.
Yeah.
And he also said like many Romas, they went to England and they felt treated well. I mean, like they didn't face those prejudices because maybe like the society is more mixed than so.
Right.
But here, I mean, like the racism is very strong.
Must be hard to live like that.
Yeah, sure. So he wished also like the people like in the other countries to be able to see how the people are living in these conditions and maybe also like to unite somehow.
Yeah,
sure.
and help. In an effort to understand more about the Romas, we spoke with an anthropologist named Andre, and he shared with us the issues and the struggles with representation.
Since most of the Roma here in Central and Eastern Europe, they live in small, dispersed communities, and they haven't really had any common political representation or institutions. Any kind of aspirations political were mostly local. Secluded communities, they view the political practice as really non-Roma kind of stuff. Because if you're a Roma, you focus on your family or extended family and on your local life, and we don't really want to become too abstract about your life. You don't want to go into planning as much, you know. So if you look for these contrastive cultural traits, you find things like that. It makes it more difficult for Roma to form a unified political representation. But it's changing slowly because in many places the people realize that unless they unify at least something, they won't have political representation.
Yeah. It's difficult to imagine a life where you don't dare to dream too big. But when you are forced to live day to day, what other option do you have? If it's the answer's no, that's totally okay, but are we allowed to see his house or where he lives?
Ešte sa pýta, že či sa môže pozrieť niekde dovnútra, napríklad, že ako sa žije vo vnútri, ako keby, že tých
It's okay to say no.
Aha.
Ďadsky buca. Da nič, poďte.
Is this it? We're going? Gosh, it's even hard to get in. Someone's cooking. Thank you. Lachajivis. Is this your family?
Family, áno.
Yes? What's your name?
Dobrý.
Nicola. Josie. Nice to meet you. Oscar.
Lale.
Nice to meet you. It's very nice. Thank you.
Chcem vám poukázať to, že my mladí vieme sa postarať, že čisto je všetko.
So he said like like often prejudice is that like people feel like they are living in messy conditions and so, but it's not true. Like, and you can see it also like here in many households that okay, the outside is not very clear, but like once you go inside, I mean like it's normal household, and if they will have like proper conditions, they will have normal lives, you know. But I mean like it's hard. They are building their houses, so like it's like manually.
Like yourself?
Yes,
wow.
yes. The thing is that like the land here, they do not own it, so it's this kind of like illegal settlement. They would love maybe to also like get those lands or buy those lands or something, but the problem is that like it's very hard to persuade like the owners like to do that. Even here, like many people are willing to work, but you know the opportunity is the second thing. You know that sometimes there are not enough opportunities.
So they're willing to do the work and they're willing to get jobs, but those jobs aren't available to them. Is that because of where they come from? People just don't give them that opportunity?
Tak je dosť problém s tou robotou, lebo
with some it's okay, with some don't want to employ Romas, and they are trying like to put their CVs and everything, but it's sometimes like not helping at all. Yeah. And people would like to work, and but it's challenging.
It's challenging. So I mean, it's hard to have. There's no other option, is there? It's a cycle for them, I think. Yeah. The prejudice of Roma people here is hard to fathom. Without formal education, Romas can't qualify for jobs, and lack of access to education available to them creates a perpetual cycle, leaving them stuck.
In general, people sort of expect Roma to have lower capacities in whatever by nature.
Yeah.
So it's really racist thinking.
Yeah.
And the problem is that in general, education about racism around here in Central Eastern Europe is really poor. So the expectations from Roma children, for example, are really low. So whatever Roma behavior you get, especially in the segregated enclaves, a lot of professionals, non-Roma professionals, would ascribe it to Roma genes.
Yeah.
You know, it's a culture that's hard to change, and it's something that's going to stick to them forever.
Yeah.
Part of the problem is that living under this kind of ideas and pressures for centuries, a lot of the Roma people, especially Roma, the oppressed Roma living in the segregated enclaves, they internalize a lot of this stuff.
This settlement houses hundreds of self-built homes. Most are living in extreme poverty, trying to do the best they can off so little. And with them willing to work but unable because of the prejudice against Roma people, creates a cycle that's hard to escape from. Oh, thank you. How do I say? How do I say?
Dovidenia.
Dovidenia. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Nice to meet you. I think he's right. I think there is a misconception that because it looks like this on the outside, it would look like that on the inside, but it's still not easy. It's still hard. There's this thing about how, like, if this is how you lived and you were denied jobs and you were denied all these opportunities just from being from here, what other choice do you have? You know? I'm getting emotional, so I'm trying to... Water? Oh, that's the well. That's where you get the water from, and it just runs.
Yeah, but sometimes in the winter, they said like sometimes in the winter it's not going at all.
So they have no access to water then, or it's harder?
No, a keď v zime to zamrzne, tak jak sa to rieši?
Nemáme vôbec.
So there is no water at all.
Wow. The conditions here are unfavourable and harsh. With no attention or assistance from the states or authorities, the people are left here to fend for themselves, and it seems like they're being ignored or even forgotten. With Marek sharing the eagerness to come together for representation to help this community get the support it needs, it hurts me to know that many are suffering.
You can't fathom.
No, I
you can't put yourself.
can't.
Sometimes you
It's
say,
so cold.
put yourself in these people's shoes.
Yeah.
You can't put yourself in these shoes. This is horrific conditions.
It's just really cold.
Yeah.
And there's kids we walked past, and I wouldn't never film that, but he was walking around with like his pants around his ankles, and I was like, imagine.
You know,
I can't.
in the past we've spoken to people in this bad conditions all around the world, and we're always like, how's your life? And they're like, it's good, I have my family, I'm happy. People here, everybody, universally, it's horrible, it's bad. I can't live in these conditions.
Lasciativus.
Well,
And I feel like as well, I felt this in Afghanistan. I feel like I have to break the ice, like I have to say hello and stuff, but I don't feel nervous. Lasciativus.
It's their
And
job.
they're so happy
Yeah.
sometimes. Like, I mean, they're probably not, but they laugh and smile to
Yeah.
me, and that's so nice.
She's very smiley. They're very happy.
Hey, high five.
Gonna go with the hell out.
Thank you. Thank you. They're so friendly. They're so cute. We just put the drone up and everyone's like staring at it like that, but so friendly. Lacho Givis. Lacho Givis. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. What's your name?
Stefan, are you?
Josie.
Josie.
Hi.
Josie.
What's your name?
Alex.
Alex. Josie.
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 What are you doing here?
We're filming for about
Yeah.
just about how you
Roma
live
culture.
and Roma culture.
Yeah.
Are you live here?
I'm from here, yeah.
You are.
Yeah.
You have really good English.
Yeah, because I was in the UK
UK,
Oh, UK.
yeah, sure.
What brought you back here?
on holiday.
On holiday.
Okay.
So you'll go back to the UK
Yeah, after Christmas we're going back.
after Christmas. Wow.
Everyone here is so friendly.
Yeah.
So friendly in
so
this place.
friendly.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Really, really cool.
What's your name?
Eliška Toja.
Eliška Toja. Josie. Hi. Nice to meet you.
See you later.
Thank you. Lacho Givis. Bye-bye. Leaving this place with a heavy heart and very emotional, it's hard to even find the words to explain what it felt like to be here, to see it and feel it. How did you feel after that? Because you said you've been past but not really been in or anything like that. So what do you feel?
Despite of the fact that, like, for example, it's in my city and I've been there many times, but especially the settlement behind Lunik 9, the conditions there are like really terrible. But it has to be systematic. I mean, like it cannot stand on the volunteers or not, and also not just on the NGOs or churches. And so there has to be systematic effort, and it's not easy. I mean, like it's not easy. Yeah. But still, at the end, it should be the state coming with the systematic policies and like the tools how to fix the whole thing systematically.
Yeah. With so many questions and feeling heartbroken at some of the scenes I saw, we were on our way to a village where the Romas had been successfully integrated into a mixed community, setting up a meeting with the mayor to learn more. Susanna shared with us what made this integrated community successful, and it all started with providing opportunity for employment, creating structure in families' lives.
The strategy was that like village, they founded this like social company, let's say. They started to employ local Romas and also physically disabled people. First of all, the Romas, they got certain, let's say, regime. They had to go to work. As they were going to work, they were also like taking their kids to the school. So this kind of like skipping the classes from the among the kids, like that was decreased as well as the kind of secondary outcome of that.
Yeah.
It helped them financially, so they were able to fix their houses. And even some kind of form of loans were like possible.
This city created many social enterprises that employ Roma people. These businesses, such as construction and many trades, are designed to support the local and cultural mission, providing income and stability to many Romas. As we toured around the town, we met some Roma workers from these social enterprises. We saw community centres with children taking part in after-school care, and we met a woman creating wooden products and trinkets to sell. We could see the pride of the community here. So you can tell, like, this is just... It's clean. They've got recycling bins everywhere. They've got men doing work. It is much different, and it is interesting to see, I guess, the stark differences. It's night and day. Building on their success, Susanna's vision is to create more work opportunities for women.
She said, like, when it comes to Roma men here, everyone who wants to work, works already.
Right.
It's not like that with women, because like there are many women who would love to work, but there is still not enough opportunities. So like her vision is like to create more opportunities for women. One important message the mayor shared with us was that within this mixed community, the mission is that no one feels segregated or different, and that everyone is an equal citizen of her village. And she said like everyone here, it's like they're the citizens, of her home. Yeah. That's the identity, that's the primal identity. The second identity would be with like wider Roma.
Sure.
And that's crucial, like not to, like segregate or separate those people according to the race, but like according to their like skills and how they behave. She received an award from the village, you know, like for her job and for her job results.
Oh, good job!
She's very talented and like very hardworking woman.
Oh, cool!
It's like not one group of people versus another. This is like an example of when both of those communities or all of the communities work together and it works.
Like it has to feel good. We were just walking there and the mayor just said, like, you did a really good job. That's got to feel nice.
Yeah.
Like, it must feel really like a community here.
The example of this community shows that there's a path forward with integration of the Roma people, that it can be done, and it is now being replicated in other communities. But there's one important thing to note here. While success should be celebrated, even the mayor shared that the starting point here in her community was very different from the segregated communities we saw these past 2 days, and where they would have to start from.
But she also said, like, very honestly that, like, compared to other Roma communities, the starting point was better here. It was not like totally segregated, settlement. It was not this kind of like environment. So even so, it was not so hard to achieve that.
The takeaway here is that the creation of employment, supplying structure for families, and providing opportunity and incentives for those working hard and doing the right things is making all the difference.
They have incentives. They have reasons to, like, if they do the right things, they'll get housing and help like that way, right? Yeah. So if you're attending school, if you have a job, if you're doing your work, then you'll get...
You know, if you tidy up, it's like they're checking like medicals,
Sure, yeah. Thanks for your time.
Thank you too.
And I think this is the most crucial thing in all this topic, that like, first of all, like mutual understanding is crucial, both between like Romas and Slovakians, but all around the world, that like there are so many conflicts these days, and many times is because of the lack of the mutual understanding. So this is something she would wish for the world. Deeper understanding and maybe more empathy.
It's a good message.
So many times in life, I find myself making assumptions. Life moves so fast, and as I get older and busier and I have more responsibilities, I find my brain filling in many gaps for me. But as I travel and see the world, and more importantly, I meet its people, I am astounded just how irrational so many of those assumptions turn out to be. Humans are flawed by nature. It's built into us to fear. That fear sometimes helps us survive, but in many ways, it also holds us back from better understanding ourselves and those around us, when really we all want the same thing: acceptance, recognition, love, freedom, and opportunity. My experience with Roma people in that train station in Antwerp is one experience among many I have had now with Roma people. The others, I got to witness the determination of Marosh from Lunik 9, seeking education and a better life in a world that tells him he's not capable. I was able to see inside a family home in a community considered so hopeless that it's left out of official conversations, where the outside world was bleak, but inside the walls, love, care, and family bonds were so warm and inviting. I met Anna, not just an inspiring Roma person, but an inspiring woman, fighting for her culture to be heard and recognised. But what sticks out with me the most is the village where inclusion is promoted, where opportunity is provided regardless of your background, where education for children is valued, where smiling Roma children show us what the future can be if we drop the stereotypes and truly work together.
Josie! Josie! Your name?
Yasmina.
Yasmina! See ya! Bye!